The most dangerous lie we live today is that an educated person is a conscious person. But the Quran began with a single word to tell you something terrifying. You may hold a degree, you may understand the world, you may possess all knowledge, and yet in God's eyes, you are still someone who has not yet read. I am Mohammed, and this is Hamza Podcast. Surah Al Alaq is not just the first revelation, it is the moment when the definition of humanity itself changed. Before Al Alaq, humans were merely bodies that lived, and after Al Alaq, they became minds entrusted with responsibility. It's not just the beginning of a surah, but the beginning of true human consciousness. It is not just the opening of the Quran, it is the opening of the mind. The shocking idea here, my dear, is not that God said, read. The shocking idea is that He did not say believe first, but rather He said read. But read what? Read in the name of your Lord. And here is where the true explosion of consciousness occurs. Reading without revelation is just information, but reading with revelation is understanding. That is why, my dear, you might see a person with a PhD in physics, but in the scale of truth, he sees nothing. He sees matter but does not see meaning. He sees the universe but does not see the creator. Here, the Quran is not just attacking ignorance, rather it attacks a more dangerous illusion, the illusion of knowledge. That is why in Surah Al Alaq, read is not just about reading letters, but about reading existence. Look at the second shock in the surah. Created from a clot, then taught by the pen, from the lowest biological point to the highest point of civilization. Here, the meaning becomes clear. This verse did not come just to teach man how to read, but it came to free the mind from every authority except God. So you do not read in the name of society, nor do you read in the name of culture, nor do you read in the name of the West, nor do you read in the name of trends. You read in the name of your Lord, and this is the most radical declaration of liberation in human history. The idea that Abdul Rahman Hablanak al-Maidani focused on is very profound. Surah Al Alaq did not begin with faith alone, but it began with the methodology. Read, the reading of revelation, the creation, the reading of the universe, the pen, the reading of knowledge. That is, Islam has never separated faith from knowledge, thinking, and discovery. And for this reason, every civilization began with knowledge. But the Islamic civilization began with knowledge that is connected to God. And here, my dear, lies the difference between a civilization that builds humans and a civilization that only builds machines. And here comes the depth that Ibn al-Qayyim focused on. God did not say your generous Lord, but rather your most generous Lord. That is, the greatest divine generosity is not wealth, nor health, nor strength, but knowledge. The greatest gifts God has given to mankind are not blessings, but understanding. That is why He said He taught man what he did not know. Not only did He teach him, but He opened doors for him that he could never have imagined. Ibn Kathir and Al-Tabari focus on a terrifying point in the story of the revelation. The Prophet, peace be upon him, was not waiting for a message, nor was he seeking prophethood, nor was he planning a revolution. Rather, he was alone in the cave, searching only for the truth. Then came the shock. Read. And he said, I am not a reader. And here, my dear, the greatest meaning appears. This religion was not created by a human mind, but was shaped by revelation from scratch. The point that Dr. Jamal Abdul Sattar mentioned is extremely serious. No, indeed, man transgresses when he sees himself self-sufficient. Transgression, my dear, does not begin when a person gains power, but rather when he thinks he no longer needs God, when he believes that material knowledge is enough, when he thinks that reason alone is enough, and when he thinks that technology is enough. That is when the downfall happens. It is not just a moral downfall, but an existential one. Man returns to being a mere clot once again. A body that lives, but a mind that is dead. Surah Al Alaq, my dear, began with the word read and ended with prostrate and draw near. And here lies the most critical message in the entire Quran. Knowledge that does not lead you to prostration is not true knowledge. And knowledge that does not lead you to humility is not true knowledge. And a mind that does not end in reverence has not read in the name of its Lord, but in its own name. Peace.